All right, hello everyone. We're gonna give everyone just a couple more seconds, and then we're gonna jump in. Hot and heavy, it's great to see you. Welcome to the first of many table discussions. Today is really special. It is about a concept called redshirting, and I'm really excited to share this with you. So give folks a couple more minutes to jump in, seconds rather, to jump in. I'm really glad that you're here. It's gonna be a good one. So stay tuned. All right, good. Welcome. As you are getting settled, let me just give you just a few housekeeping tips and tricks. There will be a moment where we will interact with one another. I will encourage all of you to use the chat, but definitely share this information with those of you that you care about, that you're connected to, that you lead, that you're with, those that are in your care, because there's going to be some information that I share in this conversation that you might see yourself in. You might be able to understand where this concept comes from, but then also how it intersects with your life. And so, just a few pieces to get into before we jump into this portion, titled, "Hey, you sat them down, they burned it down." Right? Now, think about this. Every organization has one. Think about it. Every organization has one. Either the most prepared person in the room, they're still waiting for a seat at the table. And so that's why I created this space. I created this space to be a place where you can find yourself, you can see yourself in the conversation, and you also are able to eat. That is most important. Now, think about this. We are in the care of many people. We call them prepared. We say that they're promising. We may call them developing. We also call them almost ready, right? And that is the premise of this whole mindset and conversation. So, in the next couple minutes, I'm just going to share with you an idea that's going to change the pipeline in your employment practice forever. All right, so pull up a chair. Leaders are waiting, and I'm really excited to get into this with you. So, here we go. The most dangerous individual, believe it or not, is the person in your organization that is sitting there. Unfortunately, they're delayed, they're not noticed for whatever reason. And so, with that said, some people, they come to the table, they come into leadership, they aren't late, right? But for some reason, the door for them was late to open. And so here, we have been repeatedly told, you know what? They're not the right fit. That's been told to me. Hey, Diggs, you're not the right fit, not right now. And so hearing this often accumulates a particular type of depth, right? Watching someone with half the ability to grow because their talent wasn't fully seen at the table. And so sometimes your most dangerous employee really isn't your loudest, right? But it's the one who's been on the bench, right? This person has been sitting on the bench, quiet. They've been prepared, and they've been watching everything that you do. And so, having said that, let's go into this. Let's talk about what the red shirt really means. Now, it's a metaphor, all right? The red shirt means that there is a season that we are sitting within. It doesn't mean that you lack ability, it doesn't mean that at all, but it means to preserve the eligibility and allow them to develop. This is a phrase used a lot of times in sports where you have an athlete that is developing, they're almost ready, the organization has a plan for them, and so what happens is that they delay their emergence by putting a red shirt on them. Hopefully this lands and makes sense. Now think about this. They continue to practice every day, just like everyone else. They also are in the stadium and they see what everybody is experiencing. And here's the deal. I've seen this, verbatim. The coach knows that that player is ready. The coach knows that they're hungry, but we also know, and the coach knows this too, but the system just isn't ready to use them yet. Let me let that land for just a moment. The system isn't ready to use them yet. Has there been a moment in your existence and in your life where the system hasn't been able to use you? They don't want to use you yet. They don't want to put you in place just yet. Now, having said that, Malcolm Gladwell, he wrote a phenomenal book called Outliers, and he uses the red shirt, analogy in this way, but more specifically about hockey players. He said through his research in his book that the January-born hockey players, they mistook their maturity for merit, right? Same talent, different birthday, different outcome. And so this is where we're going to bridge this idea of the red-shirted leader. Now, there's a moment where we're witnessing what is happening, right? Okay, the red-shirted leader, the red-shirted athlete, while they're doing all the things that everybody else is doing, while they're being isolated and held off on the sideline, all right, they aren't the only ones watching the clock, right? Everyone who looks at them, they're counting too. They're taking notes. Remember when I said that the most dangerous employee isn't the one that's the loudest? It's probably the one that is the most quiet. And this is why. So when it comes to a red-shirted leader, right, the organization will delay them, right? Will develop them with the intention to, yeah, we're going to grow you, we're going to mature you in a particular space. We have plans for you, but in essence, what this means is that this is a delay. We're delaying your ascendance. We're delaying your outcome, and that is what redshirting is supposed to look like, right? We're supposed to develop you, we're supposed to grow you, but really we're just slowing you down. Think about this. Has that happened to you? Have you unintentionally done that to someone else? And so, team, having said that, let's go here. But when we do these things to people or when they're done to us, right? We just feel like they need more time. Someone has felt like you needed more time. Someone has thought like, you know what? We're going to bench you because we have plans for you. But let me tell you what happens. There are three patterns when it comes to the benching. First and foremost, there are the structurally overlooked, right? They have the degrees, they have the certifications, they have the high marks, they have the merits, but you know what? They got it. Boom. Hey, you know what? There are some people that are part of committees, they're part of boards, they lead large organizations outside of the 9 to 5. They got it. Check. Right. They even smile in your face because they know that they're ready to go. They want to be a part of the game, be brought towards the table. They want a seat at that table. But for red-shirted leaders, they are structurally overlooked. All right, because the pipeline wasn't built for them. And so when we talk about developing, imagine this. Imagine yourself developing for 6 years. 6 years? Why is it taking that long? And then also, your superior, they may be carrying a bunch of institutional knowledge, right? But you know what? They just want to hold you back. And that is where we become frustrated. Let me give you number two. First is a structurally overlooked. Now, the second thing that happens for the red-shirted leader is that they are deliberately delayed. Why grab one more credential if we're delayed, right? Why wait one more year if I am deliberately delayed? And here's another one. Why have one more proof of concept or proof of the point if I am deliberately delayed and structurally overlooked? Now, you bring everything to the table that people have asked you to, right? The bar has been moved yet again. And so there lies the shifting of the placemats at the table where you know what, you've made it, you've done the thing, you've done what we've asked you, you have fit the description of this job that we're looking for, but you know what? Not yet. You are not the right fit. Let me give you number three. Number three is this: systematically or systemically held back. Team, this happens too, where you're held up at the gate systemically, repeatedly, over and over again. But the organization, we find this to be true. The organization really wasn't designed to see you. The organization wasn't designed to see you as a leader, right? Um, and this could be uncomfortable, right? I gave you three layers of how the red-shirted leader is impacted by the deliberately delay. the systemically overlooked, and then also systemically held back. I'm showing you an outcome of what happens. As you can imagine, this is frustrating. This is heavy on your shoulders, all right? As you're watching from the sidelines, as your peers moving forward, moving on. But know this, for some reason, there's a red shirt in place, and that is happening to you. And so let me give you another example of this, systemically being held back. Now, let's say that you're held up at the gate repeatedly, right? You're trying to fly somewhere to a beautiful place, but TSA, they're every time they see you, they're gonna hold you back. And what happens if you're held back at TSA, right? You're probably gonna miss your flight. Now, having said that, Bettina Love, a phenomenal activist, author, phenomenal individual. I believe she has said it the best, and she is encouraging us to stop tinkering at the margins and tell the truth about what is being built. Also, what is being built around you, which is a structure that is denying our ascension, hence the red shirt. So here, team, let's keep going. Now, what we tell folks, what I tell people all the time is that, you know what? We aren't in a position to wait longer, right? We have proven enough. You have smiled hard enough, and you've done this in every place, every space, every room. But for some reason, as I mentioned earlier, the bar keeps moving. And so, why is that, right? I happen to jump into a time and place and space in my life where I wanted to venture off into triathlon, swim, bike, run. It's three sports all together, makes no sense. But when I jumped into that space, I knew that in order for me to make it, I had to navigate different challenges, right? So, Creve Coeur Lake, that was the first of endeavor for me. It was an Olympic distance triathlon, jumped into the water, and I didn't make it. I took on water because I didn't know how to navigate that space. Went to Louisville for a full distance triathlon. I had to pull out at the 80th mile on the bike. Now, who in their right mind would keep going after not being able to finish a big race twice in a row? Well, that's me, and that's you. As a red-shirted leader, we know that we have to continue to grow, work on our craft. Every day, every instant, every connection is a moment of growth for us to capitalize and share that experience with others. And so, having said that, I want to leave you with this particular sentence. This isn't about when your moment comes, because I knew at some point I would cross the finish line. I knew it. But this is more about what I've been building along the way, right? I've been building resilience along the way. I've been building tenacity along the way. As a red-shirted leader, as you're feeling the weight of being delayed, denied, and purposefully sidelined and siloed, we know that our time will come, number one, but number two, when it comes, we are going to be ready. And that's a guarantee. And so, having said that, let me give you another example. Imagine we're all at the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, right? Imagine that you're there and you bring everything that is being asked on the list. Now, you know, they have these three different columns, one of these, two of these, if not this, then that, right? But see, this is what is happening for the best leaders, especially those that are redshirted. We are finding ourselves bringing everything to the table from every list just to ensure that we're not looked over. And so, with that, once we finally get to the head of the line, or once we finally get to the table as a leader, we're exhausted. Yes, we are over credentialed, we're under resourced. But then again, people act surprised by our excellence. And it's because we're ready. You're hungry. You're ready to go, ready to make this happen because you've been, again, delayed, denied, and overlooked. And so, where do we go from here? We always knew. How often have you heard this? Or maybe you said this to one of your leaders. You know what? We always knew they had something special. But did you know? Did you know that you had something special? They probably did because you've been delayed, denied, and sidelined. And so as we move through this, let's talk about what happens next. The red-shirted leader, what happens is that they just stop waiting. You know what? I've seen this game before. I've seen how people navigate in this arena. So you know what? I'm done. Tired of waiting. But here's the deal. They don't quit and stay. They just quit. I've been connected to many leaders across the St. Louis area who have experienced many different things, hills, hurdles, barriers, and they too have moved on because they have been tired, beat down, systemically overlooked, discriminated against, all the things. And so what happens is when people feel this burden for long periods of time, yes, they move on, they quit, and they take that fire, that energy, that juice within them somewhere else. And so when organizations see this happening, this slow trickle of people away from their organization, they're not just losing uh, their employee that they've sidelined. What happened is they funded their competitor's best hire. And I know this to be a fact. And so everything that we have done to this point, we have grown our knowledge base, we have strengthened our relationships, we have lit a fire that continues to get hotter. For those sideline leaders, what happens is that they move somewhere else to their competitor. And so what I would like to do is blow things up, just a little bit. I would like to, name problems. I would like to get things started, and I want to implore something upon you, which are three things that you can do starting tomorrow. And number one is this: audit your almost ready list. So if you're a leader with those that are following behind you, audit your list. Like, hey, ask yourself a really, really honest question. Is there readiness in the ranks? Are there folks that are hungry, folks that are ready, folks that are ready to flex their muscle, things that they have learned and acquired? Hey, you know what? Let's go to the bench, right? See who's there. And then ask yourself, hey, are they on the bench because they're truly not ready, or is it because of your comfort? If it's because of your comfort, then you need to take a really hard look in the mirror. Number two, let's close the gap, right? Done are the times of where we're mentors giving feedback. I think that's dead. I do. 2026, whenever you're watching this video, I believe mentorship is dead. We're done giving feedback. I don't think that really benefits people. What truly helps those who are on the bench, those who are in the ranks waiting, those who are redshirted, is their sponsor giving up their political capital. So, for example, I can have a line of mentees. Let's say I got 10 mentees. I'm just talking to them, just talking to them. But they would get a lot further if I was able to be vulnerable, flex my resource list, and pull them with me as we're both trying to grow together. Drop the mentorship, be a sponsor, and levy your political capital. Okay, that's number two. Let's go to number three. Number three is like this. There comes a time where we need to redefine what ready looks like, right? Um, because if we are sticking to old rules of readiness, then it's really baked into what I feel comfortable with on a Monday. But if we redefine what that looks like, then you know what? Imagine a leader, an image of a ready leader. Um, from 20 years ago, that same leader is showing up now because we haven't redefined what this looks like. And let's just be clear, if we aren't strong in our redefinition of leadership, what this could look like, what the future looks like, then we're just creating a bunch of clones. I was listening to a piece the other day, and it talked about the second level decision. Okay, let me explain a little bit of it. So we make decisions every day, right? We make hundreds of thousands of decisions every day. But imagine if we were so conscious that we're making a decision, but also being thoughtful about the outcome of that decision, right? So when we have second level decisions, we are thinking so far forward that, you know what? Yeah, I can ditch mentorship. I could be a true sponsor, bring my leaders with me. And now, what is that second level decision? Now we've developed a coalition to go do something great, right? Second level decision. Think about it, look it up. Here we go. Now, with that said, I want to provide a framework to get you going. And again, whenever you're watching this, I want this content to be relevant for you so that you can use it the next day, right? Use it tomorrow. And so, having said that, I need for you all to understand about what we need to do to leverage and flex our next move. And so, think about this, and I need everyone to hear this. You're not stuck. Okay. Um, but we do have three plays that we need to flex, right? I'm gonna give you all three, one, two, three, and then we're gonna break it down in real quick and fast fashion. One, I need for you to stay strategic in your red shirt season. Two, I need for you to exit with intention if that is something that is happening for you, a decision that you're making. And then number three, leaders of leaders, I believe that to be all of us, leverage the bench, right? So in these three power moves, we're going to be making some decisions. So, having said that, let me break down what they each mean. The first piece of the framework, staying strategic, this means, hey, stay in the game. I'll say it again. Sounds counterintuitive for whatever we're talking about right now. I need for you to stay in the game. When the season is real, all right, and worth waiting it out, what strategic thinking, what strategic staying looks like versus quiet quitting. Think about that, right? Think about that. Stay in the game, but then ask yourself some real questions. All right, am I being strategic in staying, or am I just hanging out and quietly quitting? Because guess what? No one benefits from your skills, dispositions, expertise, especially you if we're quiet quitting. All right, the second thing I mentioned, exit with intention. So, what's powerful about this is that, you know what, sometimes we might need to change teams. That happens, right? Especially in a growing world that we're in. Having said that, how we leave matters, right? How we leave on offense is important more so than leaving in defeat, right? Naming some differences between fleeing and transferring because we have to navigate this piece, right? Are we leaving? Are we transferring? Are we leaving on our own terms? Are we leaving in defeat? Are we leaving by flipping a table? But are we or are we leaving strategically? Let me give you this third one real quick, and then I'm gonna fly through a couple slides. Leverage the bench itself. Sometimes, team, you need to build your own bench, make your own table, put seats around your own table, if you will. And the reason why that's important is because we can wait for the platform or we can build one on our own. While you're in the space, leverage your intellectual property. Create avenues, create frameworks, develop your skills and relationships, grab some more credentials, right? Like do the things that feed you, even though you're in a place where you are intentionally placed on the bench. So here we go. Let's keep flying. So one, stay strategic. All right. Think of this as your development season, not a dead end zone. Also, hey, set a date, reevaluate. Hey, staying only works if you're banking on eligibility, not bitterness. So, what does this look like? Diggs, talk to me straight. For me, I have always been about learning and growing. And if I'm always about learning and growing, then I'm always going to be about serving. So after I've learned, now I'm growing. Both of these involve me, but giving back and serving involves somebody else. So for me, I'm all about being strategic because if I'm giving value, no matter if I'm on the bench or in the game, somebody's benefiting from what I've acquired. Number two, I mentioned this earlier. When it comes to exiting with intention, running away from an issue, that's reactive. But what if we were to be intentional and figuring out our own end game, your own end game? So hear me clearly. Delay with a destination means a lot. Leave towards a program, right, that will actually play you. So, for example, let's say you are benched right now, whatever situation you're in. Let's say that you're on the bench. It doesn't make any sense to go from one bench to somebody else's bench. Makes no sense. So if you have made the decision to leave your bench to go to another organization, you want to be really intentional in making sure that you'll be in the game, that you'll be able to play. And so, having said that, when you do move on and you're going from the bench out to the field, you're going to take your fire with you. You're going to take your credentials, you're going to take your energy, you're going to take your fervor with you because here we go. That is leverage and it will never be a loss to you. All right, number three, we're rounding third. Here we go. Leverage the bench, right? Um, we're not auditioning anymore for someone else's definition of being ready. You've done the hard work. Your resume speaks for itself. Build a platform, build something great, build something that you're in control of. Even though you're part of a 9 to 5, right? Most of us are, but you can also do some things in the background that serves people deeply. Although you may be on the bench at this current season. Now, having said that, let me give you this last point. The bench becomes the launch pad, right? And this conversation, this webinar is proof. For some reason, you grabbed the Zoom link. For some reason, you jumped into the chat. For some reason, you are watching this video, whether it's on social media, YouTube, however you grabbed it. You are here because you are wanting something different. You're wanting something more. You're wanting to grow. You're experiencing a season where you are unsure of where we're going and what's happening next. And so, with that, you're trying to keep your fire going. And so this is what I need for you to understand about the redshirted leader. The bench never extinguishes the fire. It only accelerates it. And by you being here today, you are continuing to keep your fire burning, accelerating your growth, accelerating your potential, accelerating your gift for people. And so, in having said that, I just want to say thank you for being a part of this conversation. We're going to have many more table chit chats. I'll post them everywhere so that folks can jump in. And also, if you're interested, please take this clip and share it with someone who follows you, someone who you're trying to get off the bench. Share it with your neighbor, share it with your friend. It becomes great listening work. So again, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. It's been great being here with you. If there's anything that I can do, please connect, reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm active there and all the places and spaces in between. All right, here we go. Y'all take care. Peace.